Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm making Caesar salad, a chicken Caesar. It's delicious. It's perfect for summer. And the best thing about the salad is the dressing. If there is someone coming over to your house that you want to impress, or if you just want to impress your family, make the Caesar dressing. It is one of the best things I've ever learned how to make. And I have been changing the recipe around for a few months, and I finally found the perfect ratio of all of the ingredients. So if you're looking for a delicious Caesar salad, if you go out to eat and you usually order this is something you can make at home. So I'm going to start by making the dressing. I'm cutting up one large garlic clove, so that's how you start. So I'm going to first hit it with the flat of my knife to get rid of the peel. That's how I do it. I cut off that little root end and then hit it with the flat of my knife so that the peel can come off more easily. And then I'm just chopping it up before putting it in the food processor. This is my summer cottage food processor. It is not a Cuisinart, so it's not as powerful. So that's why I do it. I chop everything up before putting it in there. It's kind of funny. We spend the summer in Massachusetts on Cape Cod, and our cottage kitchen is tiny, and I'm still filming these videos, and I don't know what I'm thinking. It's kind of difficult. We don't even have a dishwasher, so it's kind of funny that I'm able to do these videos here. So there's a lot of work putting these together, but it's so much fun. I love it. So now I'm doing about a handful of flat leaf parsley. I prefer flat leaf instead of the curly parsley. I think it has more flavor. It's also called Italian parsley. So you end up with about 4 tablespoons when it's chopped. So I chopped it all up there, and now I'm actually measuring because it's actually important for this dressing. With cooking, sometimes you don't have to worry that much about measuring. It's all to taste, but I have worked so hard on this dressing that I think it's really important to measure it. And I have some extra there, and I'm putting it in because my tablespoons were not very full. So, a large handful of flat leaf parsley, and then you chop it all up. If you have a Cuisinart, you can just do this in the food processor all together, and it will take care of it pretty quickly. But this is a different kind of food processor. It doesn't do that. I'm still chopping it up a little bit, as you can see there. So we are going to do that first before adding the rest of the ingredients. And it's a very simple dressing, but it's the ratios of acid to mayo that really does it. And I'm going to start there. I just showed you the anchovy paste. So you can either use anchovy paste. I'm using 3 teaspoons there. So it's very easy to find in the supermarket, usually by the olives. If you shop like that, still, in the supermarket, if you go get it yourself, or you can order it very easily if you do a pickup. Or you can also use 3 to 4 anchovy fillets if you buy the can. So that's what you would need. And of course, I'm doing what I do with, tubes like that. I have to make sure that the ends are flattened so that it's easy to get out the next time. So that's something that you should probably do as well. Do that with toothpaste, with everything else. So now I'm using Dijon mustard. I'm using 2 teaspoons of Dijon. And it's important that it's Dijon, that it's not yellow mustard, because the flavor is much better with Dijon. It's just a little more acidic, and it has a lot more vinegar in it than a regular mustard. So it's very good to use, and it really gives a different flavor to this dressing. And I've tried it with different mustards, and that one is the best. And now I'm moving on to the lemon. So fresh lemon is imperative here. If you usually get the stuff that comes in a bottle, I'm sorry I have to tell you to get a fresh lemon from the produce department. That will make your cooking so much better. And I'm squeezing it there because I'm going to measure again. So usually I can, I know that it's probably going to be most of a full lemon to get the 3 tablespoons that I need. But because this recipe is so built on ratios and on acidity, then I like to measure it as well. So I am squeezing the lemon into a little bowl first, and then I have my tablespoon measure there, and I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. So as you can see, it takes a little bit of time to put this together, but it's very easy, and the food processor does most of the work for you. It's going to be mayo now. So mayo is, I like the Hellmann's. Sometimes in recipes you will see, buy a good mayo, but if you like, another brand, that's fine as well. It's just that Hellmann's is the one that I think tastes the best. And I'm not getting paid to say this. I have a tiny YouTube channel, so I'm not getting paid yet, maybe someday, but it's a great mayo to use. And this is 1 cup. So this makes enough for a Caesar salad for 4 with some leftovers. So I like to make a full batch, which 1 cup is. And you can use this on sandwiches. It's delicious. If you do a chicken or ham or turkey sandwich, this dressing is perfect. So I'm just going to put in the food processor there and let it all process for a few seconds, and then it will be ready. I just put it in a little gravy boat that I have, and I like to keep it in the fridge just like that, just to put it on top of the salads and sandwiches that we make. Like I said, it's pretty quick, as you can tell, and it makes it a delicious way to make your sandwiches better and your salads. And it's a great recipe to have. I learned this, I would like to say 7 or 8 years ago. I started making this dressing and changing it over time. And then a few months ago, I decided to really try to turn up the volume, so to speak. So, I'm holding that spoon pretty high there. I don't know why I was doing that. But, so as you can see, I'm putting that into a gravy boat. A few months ago, I decided to really start playing around with this recipe because we make it so much. We love Caesar salad, and this is the only dressing that makes my son eat salad. He's a teenager, he will eat vegetables here and there, but salad has always been kind of a difficult thing to get him to eat. But with this dressing, he will eat it, and he loves this dinner when I make chicken Caesar for dinner. So I'm cleaning up the gravy boat there. I don't like it when there are spills. I like to clean it up. So that goes along with my homemaking, but it's a very easy dressing, as you can tell. And now I'm moving on to the bread. I like to make my own croutons, and you can use leftover bread for this. I had some sub rolls just sitting around. I keep them in the fridge. I just like to do that. I know not a lot of people do, but I'm just cutting them into cubes. And you can, of course, buy the croutons from the store, and they are delicious. I like to snack on them or have them with wine as an appetizer, the store-bought croutons. But sometimes it's fun, if you have leftover bread, to make your own. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm just cutting everything into cubes, about 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch. Of course, you don't have to measure this, just, eyeball it. And I'm going to make them with butter and olive oil, and they turn out delicious. You just have to watch them a little bit, as you will see as I'm making them. So I'm going to transfer this to a bowl and make sure that I get it pretty close to the stove so that it doesn't end up all over my kitchen floor. It's interesting. We have that peninsula there, and the stove is right behind me. So there it is. I'm going to start by melting the butter with the olive oil, and about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter for 4 cups of bread. And it makes it very, very easy to melt the butter. I'm adjusting the heat there, and you can see my arm. Should have gone a little lower there. Pay attention to that next time. But, as the butter melts, I'll tell you about the ratios of this as well. So 4 tablespoons of fat, which is olive oil and butter together, to 4 cups of bread. So of cubed bread. So that's how you do it. First you cut up the bread, then you measure it, and that's how you come to 4 cups. And you can also do this, eyeball it if you'd like, but the way that I've worked on this recipe is by measuring everything. So that's why you'll find the actual measurements in my recipes. That's how I like to cook, and I think it makes for a really great outcome. I'm not right there next to you to help you cook. So since I'm doing this with a video, I think it's really useful to have actual measurements. So the thing with these croutons, you can also do them in the oven. If you toss them just toss the bread with the olive oil and melted butter, you can put them on a baking sheet and then put them in the oven at 350 for maybe 10 to 12 minutes and watch them that way. The thing, if you do them on the stovetop, is that you have to be standing there tossing them around. I am also seasoning them with some kosher salt, and I think that's very important to bring out the flavor, and also some freshly ground black pepper. And you can see how much I'm adding there. That part I usually don't measure because I go by feel, and you will see how much you like to use, and you know how you like your food, so you are the best judge of that. So that's why I don't add salt and pepper measurements. But I'm going to be tossing them in the pan like that, and I will leave them alone when I first put them in the skillet, and it's over medium to medium high heat, and then I start tossing them, and then they start getting really brown on all sides. They're really delicious. As I said, I serve these as appetizer with drinks, and people usually love them. You think that bread is something so simple, and it is, but I found that if I put out potato chips with drinks, people love it. If I put out bread cubes, people love it. So why make something even more difficult when you can get away with it? So sometimes if I don't have time for appetizers, this is what I serve. But they are usually delicious in salads as well. And if you want to keep them, like I like to serve a lot of croutons with my Caesar salad, but if you're not going to serve a full cup per person, any leftovers you put in a Ziploc bag. And then they'll probably keep for about a week. They might get a little stale, and then you can just warm them up in the oven. But you can see that they're getting hot, and I'm tossing them around. This is not the kind of thing that you just go, talk on the phone and then come back to it. You have to be standing there. That's just one of the things that I like to tell people about. So, and tossing them so that they don't burn. You have to watch them because there are so many sides to each crouton that you want to hit them all, but if you keep them moving, then you will. So it's very easy to make, but it is a little finicky because you have to stand there and toss them. But I love to make them. They are delicious. And next I'm going to move on to the lettuce. I'm using red leaf lettuce today instead of romaine. You can use romaine as well, of course, that's classic. But I love red leaf lettuce. I think it has a delicious taste. It's what comes in masculine mix as well. So they have the baby red leaf lettuce, but this is a full-grown one. So I'm just chopping it into bite-sized pieces, and then I'm going to wash it and then put it in the salad spinner. So I put it straight into the salad spinner basket, and then you'll see that I'll go off and wash it. I can't show you my sink. It's on the other side, but maybe I'll start making that a part of the video as well. So I'm going off to wash it now, and the salad spinner is a great thing to have if you make a lot of salad or in the summer. It's a little difficult to store. That's my only problem with it. I have some tight cabinets in the cottage kitchen, so it kind of takes up a lot of space, but it's great when you're making something like this. It's great to have. So that's why I keep one around at all times. We eat so many salads in the summer. You come home from the beach, you don't really want to eat something heavy or something too hot, or make the kitchen hot. We have air conditioning, but still, you don't want to have that feeling that your house is being heated by the stove. And we have an open floor concept, so the whole living room and dining room get hot if I turn on the oven. So a salad is great. So I'm just spinning that in the salad spinner, and it's going to come out really dry and delicious and crisp, and that's why you use it. If you don't have one of these, I definitely think that you should get one, even if you're in an apartment kitchen. We used to have an apartment and I had one already because I think it makes the job so much easier than using paper towels. So next I'm going to move on to chicken breasts, and of course you adjust this to how many you want. But what I'm doing there, as you can see, I put my hand on top of the chicken breast and I cut it in half lengthwise. So that I make 4 chicken breasts. I think chicken breasts are so incredibly huge right now. I remember growing up, they were not like that, but somehow they have become super chicken breasts, over the last few years. So I think it saves money to do it like this. You can serve 4 people from 2 chicken breasts. I don't think anybody needs a 1.5 inch thick chicken breast. So I cut them in half lengthwise. And you will see that I'm chopping up the ends there. Those can get overcooked, so you're just trimming them a little bit. And then I'm going to season them with salt and pepper. I like to use kosher salt. It's easier to maneuver, and then pepper. And as you can see, I am touching the salt and pepper with one hand and turning the chicken with the other hand. You do not want to get chicken juices inside your salt and pepper containers. So you have to be careful not to cross-contaminate. And I'm happy to say that in over 20 years of cooking, I've never made anyone sick because I really pay attention to these cleanliness rules. So I'm seasoning both sides of the chicken. You don't want one side tasting food, so you season both sides. It takes a little bit of time, but I think it's kind of fun to do it like that. And then you have to add the pepper to the second side as well. And you see that I go back and forth because I'm really watching how much I'm adding, and this is something that you learn over time. So I'm going to go wash my hands now. You can see by my gesture there. So I touched raw chicken. I'm going to wash my hands, and you can see that I'm not putting the chicken on my wooden cutting board. I'm using plastic cutting boards because those can be sanitized much better than the wood. The wood has little nicks in it that you can get chicken juice in, and it's a lot harder to get out. The plastic ones can go in the dishwasher, which I don't have one in this house, but a lot of hot soapy water, and it's really useful to do that. And you really have to pay attention. So now I'm putting some olive oil into a skillet. It's the same skillet that I used for the croutons. I just added the croutons to a bowl. I use the skillet again because the fewer dishes I have, the better. So I'm just going to cook this chicken. So since both sides are already seasoned, you don't have to worry about seasoning now. And just adding them to the skillet. I'm over medium-high heat here, and the only thing you need to pay attention with the chicken is to keep them ready and in the skillet for the first side for about 5 to 6 minutes. So you want them to get enough color. If you're moving them around a lot, they're not going to get brown. They might steam, and then you won't get that nice color. So as soon as you put them in, let them rest inside the skillet, and don't move them around too much. I might rearrange them, make sure that I have them in the right spot, but usually you will leave them like that. And now it's been 4 to 5 minutes. I'm going to turn the chicken, 5 to 6 minutes for that thickness. It's probably been about 5 there because those were not as thick. But I'm going to leave them on the second side for 5 to 6 more minutes. And like I said, this depends on how thick your chicken is. But if you touch the top of the chicken at the end, you will see if it's firm, it's cooked through. So this is something else that you learn as you cook a lot of chicken. You'll be able to tell by looking at it. If you don't have a lot of experience, you can take one breast out of the skillet and cut into it. Look inside in the middle. If the middle is cooked, then it's ready. So that's the finished product. I just put the washed lettuce on a plate. I add the dressing on top and the croutons and the chicken that's nicely browned. And then I keep the rest of the dressing for other uses. Sandwiches, turkey sandwiches with this dressing, delicious. You really will enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you make it, and I hope you love it. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you are returning to this channel, if you're new, please hit the subscribe button, and then you'll get more of my videos. I post every other day. I've increased the amount of videos, and thank you for being here.